Hello students, my name is Matt Kuiper, and we're going to talk about budgets. And I know what you're thinking. Budgets? Really? How boring. But to be honest with you, no, you're right. Budgets are super boring. It's just a bunch of numbers trying to tell you where to spend your money and how you can or can't have fun. That's not exciting at all. I bet if I asked everybody how much money you spend a month going out to eat, buying coffee, buying clothes, you might have some general ideas, maybe, but you certainly wouldn't know exactly how much. A major part of budgeting is tracking your spending. So you create categories, and then as you spend money, you put it into those categories. And through that process, you now know how much money you are spending on various things. And let's say through tracking, you find out that you spend way more money at Taco Bell than you ever thought you could, would, or even want to. And because of that, when things you do want to do come up, you don't have the money to do them. Let's say those are video games, they're going to concerts, they're buying new shoes and purses, right? Those are the things you want to spend your money on, but you learn instead you're spending it at Taco Bell, someplace you don't even really care about. Through tracking and through a budget, you can take better control of your money and make sure you spend it on the things that you actually want to spend it on. There's a saying out there, if you want to see what's important to a person, look at how they spend their time, where they put their attention, and how they spend their money. And through that process, guys, you might find out that you're not spending money in a way that reflects things that are valuable to you. And because of the tracking and the budgeting, you can shift those expenses and you can put them where you actually want to. One of the things that I learned through this process is that my wife and my family, we have 2 children, we spend anywhere between $500 and $900 a month on groceries. On the higher end, typically occurs when we have birthday parties. We're buying more food for guests, those types of things. But because we know those are coming and we know what month they occur, we can shift our spending habits maybe in the month or 2 prior to make sure that we can do the things that are important to us. The other place that we realize it is during winter and summer and your expenses for heating and cooling costs. They change. Through tracking it, you can decide, am I spending too much money heating and cooling my house? Maybe I could put on another blanket and I would be okay with that. And I can save money up to go on a trip, to buy a video game, or to buy that purse. You can shift your spending once you know where it's going. And now that you've shifted your spending, now that you know where your money is going, now you need to prioritize some savings. But that can be hard because there's a lot of different places that we can spend our money on a month. Tons of different things we'd rather be doing than taking money from here and putting it away for something perhaps unknown or for later. One of my favorite quotes about savings deals with standing on the cliff's edge, right? It doesn't take a lot of a breeze to push you over that edge. You'll fall right over. And that is a metaphor for how savings helps us brace for emergencies and things that occur in life. Every time you save, you take a step back away from that cliff, and it takes a bigger push to make an impact to you, to get you unsettled or to even push you over the edge. And every time you save, you take steps back and steps back. And it makes you confident in being able to purchase things. If there's a concert coming up and you've been setting aside money, you know you can go to that concert. It's really not difficult to do. That is what prioritizing savings does. For me personally, to prioritize savings, I make it a challenge to myself. At the end of every month, I move any excess money that I'm ready to put into savings into a higher yield savings account. Let that money make a little bit of money for me. But every month, that's a challenge. Try to spend as little as possible so that I know at the end of the month I can move the most money possible. And when I see that number go down, it gives me a pause and reason to look back at my spending and say, well, what happened? Did something break? Did I spend extra money? Where are my monies going? And how can I change that? That is how I personally handle prioritized savings. Now, that doesn't always work for everybody. That takes a lot of discipline to not spend money when you really, really want to. And early on, that's a really hard concept to grasp and to learn. So there's a concept out there to make it easier. Pay yourself first. And the idea is that anytime you come into money, whether it be a paycheck, something from an odd job, a birthday, take a portion of those funds and move them into your savings, whether that be a piggy bank or an actual savings account at a bank. Now those monies are gone. You can't try to take them. They're not there tempting you to spend them. And you've adjusted to that new number. My wife and I personally handle that challenge with donations. United Way is an important cause to us, and we want to make sure every month we put money towards that cause. And to do so, I have it taken directly out of my paycheck. Now, the benefit to that is I don't see it. The amount that goes into my bank account is smaller because it's already taken that donation out. Now, I don't have the pain of giving that money to United Way saying, oh, I could have done something else with it. I've adjusted. It's become a habit. This new number is what I live off of. It's how I budget my money. But it makes sure that something that's important to me, but kind of hard to do, donations that I don't directly see a result of, but I know they're important. That's how my family and I kind of take care of that. Now, once you've decided you're going to start saving, good for you. You need to decide, where am I going to put that money? You can put it on your mattress, sure, or you can move it to a savings account and start earning some more interest. But then there's another concept called investing. And what's the difference, and how do I decide? Well, typically savings is going to be something that you need in the near future. Let's say you want a video game that comes out in 6 months. You put money into savings. It's very low risk. You know in 6 months when you withdraw it or when you go get it out of that account, that money's going to be there. It hasn't changed. It's ready to be spent on that video game. Whereas an investment, those returns, they go up and they also go down. So those are typically longer term vehicles where you would put your money. If you had a concert coming up, you wouldn't want to put your money into an investment and hope that it's there in 6 months, because market may go down and you're going to have some losses. And the money you'll take out may not be enough to cover that. So when you decide if you want to put money in investing versus into savings, that's what you want to look at. That's what you want to think about. When am I going to need these money? Now, it can be daunting thinking about how to start, right? You have this big number, this huge goal that you're trying to go for, and it's overwhelming. And the easiest way is to just start. Start with something small. Pick a number that's feasible, right? It might be $5 a month. It might be $10 a month. Maybe out of every paycheck, you put $20 to $50 a month aside. Move that money, pay yourself first, and now you know you've got it set aside. But now you've started to build that habit. You've adjusted your spending, knowing that you are putting money into savings. Story from a coworker of mine. In various financial talks, I'm passionate about this stuff, so I have a tendency to talk to people about it all the time. Found out that they didn't have any savings. And I kind of voiced my concern of like the things that savings accounts do for you and the comfort it can provide in life is really, really beneficial. You should think about it. And over time, it took some time, they decided, you know what, yeah, I think I want to start something. We talked about a good option, and they began to put money into savings. That was about 3 to 5 years ago. I think they have around $5,000 set aside. They went from having absolutely nothing to having $5,000 set aside for whatever life may bring, whether it be an emergency or an unexpected trip that they really wanted to go on. When you're talking about saving money, you have two ways to get that money to save. You can either make more money or you can spend less money. In order to make more money, that might come from an odd job, maybe babysitting, maybe extra hours at work. Sometimes it means selling some stuff that you maybe just don't need anymore. Depending upon your goal and how quickly you need to reach it, there are all sorts of different ways to take your spare time and to turn that into extra money to reach a goal. When it comes to spending less, we have to lower our expenses. We have to get a little bit less of certain things. Popular topic, of course, is coffee. I'm not knocking the coffee drinkers out there. Nothing wrong with a good cup of joe. However, if you're buying coffee every day, it can get really expensive. Maybe that's a good place to go home, make some coffee for a couple different days, still go out on some other days, still be able to enjoy that, but to shift your spending so that you can achieve any other goals you might have. Maybe it means buying secondhand. There's a lot of great places in town where if fashion is not something super important to you, maybe that's a good place to save some money. Instead of going to a department store, you can do that. Another way is to shop for sales, right? If you know you want something, don't just go out and buy it right away. Maybe give it some time, wait a couple weeks if possible, and wait for a sale. A great way to save some money. Budgeting should not be a weight on your life. It is not meant to jump in, to take everything that you love and to squash it, to make sure you have absolutely no fun. What a budget is supposed to do is to free you from worrying about money. When you control where your money goes, when you know how you're spending it compared to how much you're bringing in, you can feel confident that you're not putting yourself in a position where you won't have money to spend later. There's a lot of comfort that can come from knowing. I'm not saying money is important. I'm not saying it's central to life, but I'm saying it is a part of our life. And the better you manage it, the better control you can take of it, the less worry and the more time you're going to have to spend on the things that actually matter to you. You don't have to worry, can I go to that movie? Do I have enough money? You know, because you budgeted it, because you made sure that it was available. So guys, I hope after this, you take the initiative to budget, to track your spending, and to tell your money, where is it that I want you to be spent, and to gain some comfort knowing that you're prepared for the future.